Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shah. All praises, glory, and honor goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rikah Kadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being the name of His only begotten Son, who they are going to call Jesus Christ. Now we're going to get into this Cornelius situation and give a clear understanding of who Cornelius was. Now, when you look at where he was from, then you can get a clear understanding knowing the history of the Israelites. Okay, so you go into Acts. I'm going to make this real quick because this is just a small fact I want to put out there so individuals can get over this hump. This is Acts 10:1. It says, there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. So he was a part of the Roman army, and his name was Cornelius. It says a devout man. When you go into that devout, it means keeping the law. Look at chapter 2 of Acts. The same writer, it says a devout man. 2 and 5. It also calls devout men from a specific place. It says, and there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Okay, and so this is when Judah was scattered among the nation. Now, another thing that hints that he could have been from one of the 10 tribes, because here, what Peter says to him, and I often use this as saying that the Gentiles are not to be dealt with, but when it comes to Cornelius, he wasn't a Gentile, but this is going into, was he of the tribe of Judah? So in 28 it says, this is what Peter said. Peter says, and he said unto them, ye know how that it is an unlawful thing for a man that is a Jew to keep company or come under one of another nation. So the Jews didn't deal with the Samaritans. They didn't deal with the 10 lost tribes from Ephraim on down. See? And so if they was in the land at the time, they was dwelling amongst the southern kingdom, the Jews, the Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Now when you go into Ezra, since we're talking about the land, Ezra 1 and 5, it says, then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up and build a house of the Lord which is in Jerusalem. So Judah, Benjamin, and Levi went to rebuild Jerusalem, and they was dwelling in Jerusalem. The northern kingdom didn't come and dwell in Jerusalem as a whole. Now Cornelius could have been one from the northern kingdom, because Peter said that it was unlawful. And when you go into Hosea, he says that don't go around Ephraim because he is given unto idols. But that can go to all Gentiles, you see. And the Hosea is not the law. Okay. But let's get Acts 10. And finish the verse. It says, which gave much on to the people and prayed to God always. That go another thing. Why is he praying to God, knowing that he is cast off? So that could go to, he could have been a Judite. Now you're going to John, I want John. You're going to John 9:31. It says, now we know that God heareth not sinners, but if any man be a worshiper of God, and doeth his will, him he heareth. Okay, so that's leaning on Cornelius doing the will of God, keeping the laws of God, because he was praying to the Most High always. Let's get another one. Proverbs 28 and 9. It says, he that turneth away his ear from hearing the law, even his prayer shall be an abomination. Okay? And so the prayers of the northern kingdom and those individuals that wasn't living as an Israelite and following the laws of Moses, their prayers was not being heard. Their prayer was an abomination, because they sitting around eating and dealing with abominations and committing abominations against God. And so he wasn't going to be listening to they behind. But yeah, Cornelius was an Israelite certified. No matter if he was from the northern kingdom or the southern kingdom, he was living in the land of Israel. Okay? Because they divided that land. They got a precept for that. But let's get Matthew. Is it Matthew 18? Or Matthew 8? Oh, Matthew 4 was it? Four and 12. The water. The water Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. This is Matthew 4 and 12. It says, now when Yahushua had heard that John was cast into prison, he departed into Galilee, and leaving Nazareth. So we talk about Nazareth. Okay, so Cornelius is in 50 miles away from Nazareth. So he departed into Galilee, leaving Nazareth. He came and dwelt in Capernaum, which is upon the sea coast, in the borders of Zebulun and Naphtali. Okay, so these are the lands that the specific tribes dwelt in. So what is when you have all these tribes with their own land, why are they in Caesarea? That was in the southern kingdom with Nazareth, right by Yahushua. 50 miles from Yahushua. Why is a northern kingdom even dwelling there when they got their own land that they can go dwell in and claim their birthright? But he's a Roman centurion, so he's under the Roman Empire. And he can live in the southern kingdom if he wants to, if the Romans allow him to do so. But either way it go, he was a certified Israelite, and it was other northern kingdom what you call it, Northern Kingdom Israelites on the scene. Let me get that John 4. John 4 and 6 and 9. John 4 and 9. It says, Then saith the woman of Samaria unto him, How is it that thou, being a Jew, askest drink of me, which I'm a woman of Samaria? For the Jews have no dealings with the Samaritans. Okay? So all of that shows how they wasn't dealing with the northern kingdom. And so when Peter said it's unlawful, he could have been talking about that. And they wasn't dealing with no Gentile. Because Yahushua in Acts, was it Matthew 5, I think? Or Matthew 8. Matthew 8, or what is he talking about? One Matthew 8, it was Luke 18 or something like that. Let me see if I can run into this thing real quick. Let's try Matthew 18 real quick. Yeah, Matthew 18 and 17, it says, And if he shall neglect to hear them, tell it to the church. But if he neglect to hear the church, let him be unto thee as an heathen man and a publican. So the heathen was treated different. You had to deal with them different than you dealt with the Israelites. Okay? So the evidence show that Cornelius was an Israelite. He was living in Israel. And it wasn't no random Edomite sitting around living in Israel praying to God, praying to the Israelites' God. See, that's what he was saying, being a devout man, praying to the God of Israel. When they had all of their Zeus and Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, and all these other gods, Cupid and all this crap that they was worshiping, he's not finna sit up there and pray to the Israelites' God. See, and so, and because too, the Cornelius situation was, well, I didn't really get the timeline on it, but yeah, I just wanted to make that real quick. I'm gonna leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders pushing the truth. Peace to the elect worldwide, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the descendants of slaves scattered around the globe on slave ships and through many captivity. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.